All right, it's me again, Roger. I got Nabi on with me. We're going to be talking about how body parts turn into stone. He's got an interest in stone. What do you find interesting, Nabi, about the stones?
I have a couple of different ones that I couldn't identify. This one here, where it almost had a Mika look to it, but it was red, and I came across your page. Somebody told me to look at your page. I'm sorry, I didn't have any camera. Yeah, so we come to your page and look at petrified woods and things of that nature. And I had a couple of slabs of petrified wood too. This one has some unique colors in it.
Yeah, that's the one we decided it was a lung. And that white spot on the side there, that's where, that one right there, yeah, right there, exactly where you're pointing to. That's where the air entered. The rest of the stuff is where the oxygen mixes with the blood and so forth. But let me go about this presentation just strictly to tell people how flesh and blood and bone and everything turns into stones. And it was a process. Let me find if I can show my paper that I originally wrote years ago about this. I've come to the point where I think everybody understands how all this happened, but people don't, you know. Hold on. Here it is. All right, you see what that screen is right now, fascia-facilitated fossilization?
Yes, I see it.
Okay. Now, I'm just going to run this through because this goes back to 2015 when I first originally discovered mud fossils, probably 3-4 years earlier. But by this time, I had it really nailed down. I had all kinds of things, DNA and tests done and CAT scans, all that. So here's how I wrote this paper. I'm just going to read it and explain. And if you have any questions, Nabi, just cut in, just say, hey, I got a question, all right? You good with that? Okay. Now, I just started off, I said, if not for fascia, which is a coating on everything that's around your organs and everything, the fascia, you would be a bag of gushy, mixed organic and metal molecules, all dissolved, and they just dissolve in the rain. The fascia is what holds everything together in you. So fascia is the reason you stay together, and it is the strings and springs in connective tissue. That connects everything together. Fascia is only recognized as important in the last few years, and Germany was in the lead because nobody even knew what fascia was about, really. They knew fascia about it, but they didn't know about this fluid-filled highway. So I say when I'm confronted with the spectacular preservation of these fossils in mud, I'm always asked, how is this possible? When I try to explain, I feel like a doctor with a patient has glazed eyes. They just can't understand what you're saying. Now, unless you are a medical person, you may never even have heard of fascia. So what is fascia? All right, so fascia is the coating. Now listen to this, this is important. Every single fiber, every single organ, every single muscle has fascia around it. And the fascia is the coating on every fiber of your entire cellular structure. It's the web of life. It's just like a sponge that holds you together, and you're inside that spongy body of fascia. Now, in ancient times, they called it tunica, which was the coating and the cloak of every single body part. The fascia has a job to do. It protects and separates the tissues. All the different tissues in your body, every single one of them is separated from the next one. And it does it well during your lifetime. Guess what? If you die and are buried quickly and stay wet and compacted in fine mud, that's the key. You got to stay wet and compacted in fine mud. The fascia doesn't even know you're dead. The mud is just exactly its body tissue, and the fascia just continues to protect whatever's inside of it. So The fascia doesn't even know you're dead. It keeps protecting the contents of these. They're literally like plastic bags. And this is the cause of what's that? You got a no, okay. Mudfossils are the exact copies of original creatures separated on the fascia and skin separation planes. So where your skin is, below it is going to be fleshy stuff, above it is going to be whatever surrounds it. And inside, when you get inside your body and you're on your organs and so forth, it's a coating on the organs that separates that organ from the rest of your body. You know, why don't you turn your speaker off there while we're, you got a little speaker switch, because I can hear a lot of noise, and well, not a lot, but I always wonder whether you're trying to kick in or not. All right, anyway, so here goes. Now, the fascia separates every cell and structure from its neighbor in life and in death. The fascia protects every bit of you from invasion, including a complete fabric bag, which is your skin. Your skin is not just one fabric. You have tough skin and fine skin. The fine skin's on the face, the tough skin's on your hands and your feet and all that. I call that grip skin, and I'm going to show you some examples. Now, all fascia is made of collagens and keragens. Those are the fabrics. Those are the gooey, tough fibers and elastics. They're in sheets, and they wrap everything individually, and then it all comes together in one giant system, which is the fascia has a fluid-filled, well, I think I could get to that in a minute here. Hold on. Now, here's the key. There's over 20 different types of each collagen and keratin in your body. 20 different types. Some of them are very stiff and tough. Some of them are very flexible. Some of them are stretchable. Some of them don't stretch. And they come in bundles, and that bundle can do just unbelievable work, because it can be just enough stretchy to hold things together, or it can be real stretchy, and you can work with it. And that's why some people are so limber. They can work with those collagens and keratins and stretch them and get them to do what they want, and they can twist any kind of way you can think of. Anyway, now, also these collagens, they are protective, and some of them protect from acids as they wrap the bag, because you're going to have stomach acids and so forth, so they protect from acids. Some of them from caustics, which are salty things. Others mineralize for strength, which gives you the connective tissue. The variety is amazing. The fibers are infused with silicon. So here's the important thing: silicon. Very tough stuff. And then you have the collagens and the keratins, can do all kinds of different physical stretching and all that. Now, the tissues in your body are varied and many, all kinds of different tissues. That's why there's 200 types of cancer. Cancer is just a different invasion of a different tissue. And that's because it breaks through these barriers, which are your membranes. And then it invades the organ below it. And this fluid-filled highway is supposed to stop that from happening. That's another thing that I realized doing this research. So anyway, the tissues in your body varied, many, many different types. Some are vascular tubing, completely impenetrable, connective tissue, highly mineralized. Skin has 50 times the silicon as other tissues. And then I talk about silicon carbide as fossil version of skin. It has a 9 on the hardness scale. Tough, 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 hard and grippy. Mudfossils contain all the body parts. Every single body part I found, 100% of them. Brains, hearts, livers, kidneys, everything. Lungs, all the body parts. Each is a product of fascia-facilitated fossilization, which means the fascia, which is the coating, facilitates it, makes it speed up the fossilization. It keeps that thing protected. Now, the fascia is part of the connective tissue and invests itself in bundles at certain places in the body. So each organ has to be locked into a certain place in the body. All the different organs connect, this connects to that, your hip joint connects to the hip bone, all that different stuff. Well, exactly. And guess what? The investment sites correspond to ancient acupuncture points where they hook together. They have ancient acupuncture points. Very similar is what I found. So they could be turning on a little switch between the organ and the next organ, because they pinch in a bundle and then the fluid separates into the next organ. And the fluids in each organ is different. The fluids that surround it, because some of it, like I said, some of it's acid, some of it's caustic. So it's I don't know if this is too complicated for anybody, but it's not hard to understand. You just got bags around each type of organ you have in your body. And when everything boiled, and the whole earth boiled, and they've admitted this, Harvard, all of them now have admitted that the earth did boil. And looking back through the history, going back deep as far as I can go, Velikovsky and every culture on earth said that we were almost impacted by a fiery comet which set the skies ablaze and swamped the whole earth with water, because it basically stopped the earth from rotating almost. And all of the water just kept sloshing around the earth, drowned all of the giant creatures, and they were giant, very giant. All the things that were written were true. And the giants were all over the earth, and they are the mud fossils now. And people are starting to understand this. This is 10 years ago I wrote this paper, and it was soundly rejected, but now it's starting to come around. So, you follow me on that, Nabi? Have you?
Yeah.
So far, anything doesn't make sense to you?
No, I'm liking everything. You went straight into it.
Okay, good. Here, let me finish up then, because this doesn't go much longer. Very short. All right. So we know that you've got all kind of different tissue in your body, and it's all covered by different coatings. So some of it's going to have, and it protects the blood and everything else that was inside of it sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it washes completely out and it voids everything inside. Like I'm holding up a lung here. You can't see it, but this lung is completely empty of all the contents and all the holes, and it's tissue and everything. But anyway, sometimes they just completely perfect like they were when they were alive. The bones and everything come out like regular bones. Now, so the fascia was thought to be, when I first started this, the fascia, they didn't think much of it. They called it fuzz, because it just coats all of the things, and they thought it was like padding between organs and so forth, a little padding, but it's not. It's much, much, much more important than that. So I said, when I started, fascia was thought to be mere packing material, virtually inert, had no function basically. It was long ignored as a subject of research, but recently they realized with these new viewing techniques, they could see the fascia doing its job. And I can see the fascia fluid-filled highway. Nobody's ever known about it. And that's why the fluid-filled highway basically is what protected these mud fossils. But anyway, so they could see it, and they could actually see this fascia is a fluid-filled fabric network. Instantly reconfigures itself. I watched all the information about this. It was really, really cool. And they could actually see it doing its job. So I just go on a little more about, I worked with people in Germany and all over the world, the ones that were working on fascia as being injured, because these were doctors. And fascia gets injured, and you stumble around for a while. It's painful, very, very painful. So but what I learned from them was that people with tattoos, they were finding, for some reason, the tattoo fluids, I don't know in every case, but in a lot of cases they were finding the tattoo ink down in the organs, down in, like, say, your liver or around your heart or somewhere. And that one of the colors, or I forget what it was, but it boiled down to how did that color get down into there? Because it's a fluid-filled highway. All right, so that's what I put down right up here. Fascia is a tubular fluid-filled fabric network. And that covers the whole entire body. And they never knew about this. Now, they just wrote a paper in 2018 that says, yes, this is a new organ system. This fascia, they call it interstitium. But anyway, I really discovered this back then, and this is your immune system. It's amazing how important this particular layer is now, and they're just starting to understand that. And so anyway, it goes on and on and on and on. And so I say, what can be explored? How are these rocks formed? What causes the elements and the metals and so forth? The thing you were holding up yesterday was blood is iron, a lot of iron. There's all kinds of different colored elements. And what causes them to concentrate? Why do they concentrate together? What are the steps in the sublimation and solvomorphism? That's how things reduce. What's the process that creates fossil fuel transitions? Because all the fossil fuels are nothing more than body fluids. They're all body fluids. 100% body fluids are the fossil fuels. And that's why you have all different grades, because their different organs have been under extreme pressure and transitioning into fossil fuels, hydrocarbons. So I say, what creates these fossil fuel transitions and results in organic compounds and volatile things? How does the pH affect the process of fossilization? What effects does wet soil have? Spontaneous electrical potentials, those are telluric currents that flow through the earth just because we're being hit by the sun. And what does that have to do with organic matter? What is the molecular structure of different bio areas in the body? There's all kind of different stuff. Your tendons are almost completely made of inert materials. They don't need even blood. So the connective tissue versus the lungs. Lungs are just nothing but blood. The rest, it's all kind of different organizations of chemistry. All right, so how does the chemistry react during death? When you die, what happens? Normally you rot because you're in the air and but when you're impacted in mud, totally different. Anaerobic, no oxygen. The mud simulates flesh, and everything just hardens up because normally you're handing off materials back and forth inside your body to keep you alive. You're continuously changing the molecules in your body. I mean, just unbelievable amount of transitioning going on. You have no idea. And when you die, it gets to where it's supposed to drop stuff off, and it says, I'm dead. I can't take it. So what happens then? It has to deal with that material, and it stabilizes using the whole set of chemical processes, but primarily enzymes. Anyway, what is the process of decomposition? What causes things to decompose? Why do they decompose? It's enzymes. And what is the purging of fluids? Why does the fluids purge? And some of them harden up and some of them purge. What were the conditions of the burial? How did the guy, was he completely compacted in mud, or was he sitting on top of all of that stuff? What forms of chemical invasion are at play? And I'll just tell you, it's a big word. It's called nucleophilic substitution and invasion, which is nucleophiles. Nucleuses are the center, and they actually change the atomic nature of the thing. This is deep stuff, man. Anyway, how do they change the chemical? What's the forms of chemical invasion? How do the tissues form layers? Why do they form layers? And they do because of the different membranes and also this separation and transition of the transition metals. They oppose each other. It's called iron banding. What's the process of creating voids and holes and vugs and things, which are when things empty out, basically. They normally would have contained fluids. How does metal seeding happen? Metals will accumulate. They will what they call flocculate. They flocculate, and they come together as one. And they also flocculate together due to specific gravity, because they all weigh a different weight. And as they are in fluids, they will come down and just layer one on top of another. And then what about crystallization, percomorphism, all that stuff? Anyway, I had DNA tests, CAT scans, specimens, videos, all that stuff, and I was really attacked by academia, and that's what it's been ever since. That was 10 years ago.
Is that in the same realm of opal? When things opalize?
Opal, yes, opal. I have an opal heart I could show you. That's the thing. If I can get into all of these different pictures, I could show you all these things. But here's the deal. There's something called transition metals, and they have colors. And they are the things that drag stuff through your body. They have charges that attach to them, and they can drag molecules through your body. And when you die, in this particular heart, opals are primarily Australia. That's the best one. Australia is literally made of blood. It's just like one gigantic scab. And when you have blood, you have the transition metals. So when these mud fossils over in Australia, when they solidify, they primarily turn into opals, because the things that here would, yeah, right. You see the different colors? Every different color there is a different transition metal. And that originally, it's hard to say what they were originally unless you see something like this heart that I have. I know I'm not going to be able to get to these pictures. I wish I could.
No, I know the science, because you're saying a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to just go back and research. But I'm glad we got it out in the ether, so I can go back and research and everything else to study these. Because a lot of these stones that I had, I didn't, like you told me to put the water on, and as soon as I put water in it hold on.
Yeah, well, it makes a huge
difference.
Huge difference.
Big, yeah. And then when you said, then it was this pretty burgundy color inside, but the lines in and everything, the way you described it did look like a chunk of meat.
Yeah, they are. Oh, you should see. Hold on a second. You see this?
Yeah, little cross right. Yeah.
You see this one here? I have them that are just as good as this too. You can see the meat and everything, right?
And this is getting to the funny territory now. With the meat of what? We going back to the giant thing?
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Are you seeing what I'm showing here? The
I like rhodochrosite, so I do know how rhodochrosite looks like pork. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it does look like. Let's say rhodochrosite.
Are you seeing the meat on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you are, right? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So these are actually body parts that have turned to stone because of the conditions that they were in. And what happened was they were deep inside the flesh of a creature. And the outside edges, they get kind of, they're not perfect, but these were inside. And these are like muscles and tendons and layers of meat. And they say, oh, it just looks like it. Often the resemblance. No, it's not resemblance. It's just body parts have turned hard as rock because now they are rock. I have, and mine are giant. I have giant ones, so.
Like when you get kidney stones.
Well, you know, by the way, your turquoise, I looked into that. That's, that, as far as I'm concerned, that's got to be somewhere in the copper boron area, but it's like, probably, it's not a body part. It's not a body part. It's a secretion of some sort. And well, like I say, they turn colors because of the transition metals.
The copper and the water being trapped. Just like you were saying how the blood was trapped in the mud and everything, chemical reaction, it's water with the copper.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. All right, here we go. All right, you see in this transition metal colors?
Yeah.
All right, this is the one we're dealing with. All right, these are all the different, well, these aren't all because there's so many different metals, you can't believe it. In your blood, there's like about 30 different metals, and each one of them has an oxidation state, which means that it can hold on to something. Let me see something. All right, you can see this, right?
Yes.
All right, here's the deal. You see these +2, +3, 4, 5, 6, the different ones in iron, +2, +3.
Yeah.
The metal core. See, this goes into every section of science because the metal core has a charge on it, and that goes into my dipole electron flood theory, which talks about how these plus charges grab a hold of other molecules using primarily hydrogens and oxygens, and they carry them around your bloodstream. You see the metal core in the center, that M?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It can hold on to like 6 different molecules at the same time and carry them through your body. So the electrons are arranged around the nucleus and with partly filled orbitals. And when they get to where they want to be delivered, they just drop them off and they pick up the carbon dioxide or whatever, the trash. They go deliver and they pick up. And when you die in these conditions and your body isn't completely flushed of these blood colors, they will stabilize in the body to some degree, and you'll find them in the colors of the rocks. That's why you're seeing those colored rocks.
Mm.
Let me see. All right, so far that makes sense?
Yes, yes.
Let me see if I can get it. If I could get in to show you some of these pictures, I'm going to try.
You heard about that meteorite lately?
Yeah, meteorites are all, you know what meteorites are made out of, right?
I'm sorry?
You know what meteorites are made out of, correct?
Which it depends on which ones. You have iron, nickel, some peridot.
They're all, wait, hold on, Nabi. They're all made out of body parts.
The meteorites?
100% are made out of body parts.
Teach me something. What you mean?
100%, 100%. Now, this is one of the first things I found. You can see this big hand here on the screen?
Yeah.
All right, take your left hand and lay it back flat, hard, way hard. And right in the middle, you're going to find that little tendon running right down there.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it in your hand? Just slide your finger back and forth. You can feel it. Slide your finger back and forth, right across here, back and forth like that, and you'll feel that tendon sticking up.
Yeah.
All right. You see all the padding, the fleshy looking padding? That's the fluffy stuff around your hand. Now, where it comes over here to where the silver is, that is the grip skin. The silver is the grip skin. All right, and the grip skin is the tough skin on your hand. Now, I had this DNA tested, and it's human, and I have fingers, and I have a whole bunch of stuff from this particular body. Now, that's about 4 feet wide at the top, and about 3 feet wide at the bottom. So it's pretty good size. Now, this is where I get in trouble here. All right, well, that's not too bad. Now, let me go to another one here. So that was DNA tested. And some of them were CAT scan. Here, let me show you this one. All right. This one here is another one. This is a fingertip at the top. You can see my cursor going back and forth?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Follow it around up here, the round circle. That is the little pad that the fingertip rocks on when the bone from below. This outside here, right there, is a fingernail. That's the fingernail. And I broke a piece off the edge I have down below here. I'll talk about that in a second. But this one up here, this is a fingernail. And that is the pad, and this is the vein and artery coming in. I broke this piece off right next to the fingernail because I couldn't get any blood out of this. And I had this DNA tested. I broke this off right here, and guess what? It has the fingerprints on it. You see them?
Mm-hmm.
That little dot and that little dot and that little strip coming out just started into the fingerprints. And those are the same as the sweat pores. And this popped off like a scab. It was just like this. There's no blood in here. That's why I had to break it off to get down into where the blood is. And down below, it's saturated with blood. I took blood out and sent it off to be tested, and it was human mitochondrial DNA. We all have the same mitochondrial DNA. I think even black people do too. White people, black people, everybody. Because we all originated from one mother from somewhere.
I see.
Yeah, and that's the mitochondrial DNA. And the way they test for that, there's a bunch of sequences. Hold on. There's a bunch of sequences that they test for, and I have the test right here. All right, this is the DNA test. And what they check for is a bunch of sequences. These sequences here. To make sure that the sequence from the 36-inch tip, that's that big one that I showed you. And this is the ones from the lung. And the other hand, I also had done too. Now, it came back Homo sapien, mitochondrial, cytochondrial B gene, and also the D-loop region. And they were excellent quality. Look at this, excellent quality. Excellent quality from these. Because it was really like raw blood. Now, this goes back to 2015, and I did this because nobody would listen. I submitted all this stuff to Yale, and they really were absolutely horrendous, amazing, terrible. In my opinion, they were fiduciary failures to their students to not look into this. They refused to look into this. And then again, they took credit for this work a year later because NASA went and paid them. I went to NASA too. I said, you got the same stuff on Mars as you have here on Earth. It's all biology. And NASA went to Yale and paid them to do the study, and they just basically gave them the same paper that I showed you a little while ago. It's horrifying.
Now, question. You know, around America, you see all those faces in the mountains, and I can't remember all the different places, but you look at the, it's so many different faces in mountains and stuff of that nature. You're saying those are petrified giants and not carvings?
Some can be carvings. I'm not saying 100% are.
No, it's some of them that they can't even explain who carved them. They look exactly like.
Oh no! This almost all of them, virtually everything is biology. Now, somebody might have carved some here and there, like they did with the presidents on the Mount, whatever it is. They make carvings of all kinds of things, but most things are not carvings. They're actual body parts. I mean, there's these just gigantic vaginas that look. I mean, there is no way you could possibly miss it. And it's always somebody carved that. No, come on. The things that they miss, it's just, to my mind, it's strictly done to protect their status. This is my opinion, and it's to get funding. And they get funding, they're just slathered on them. We're paying them. The Bennu pictures are horrifying that they don't know what they have out there. Did I ever show you the Bennu stuff? Hold on, I don't know if I can get it. This is going to be a problem.
Yeah, they just found some fossils down here, and then they talked about it for like a split second, and they stopped talking about it. They found some mammoth bones and some indigenous Americans from right here that predate a lot of different things, and then they stopped talking about it. And you know, the Smithsonian is always trying to hide something.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. I got to somehow, hold on, it's going to take a couple of minutes to set up. Yeah, all right. You want to, let me just dig in here. So, all right, now let me get to here, Bennu, hold on. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you Bennu. Now, here's the deal. We sent a spaceship out to this asteroid, Bennu, which I'm going to tell you right now, it's a heart. There's no question whatsoever, it's a heart. And they landed on it and popped and went down with a grabber and went in and grabbed a chunk of stuff off of it and came back to Earth with it. And it's been here for 2 years. Before they came back with it, I sent to NASA and all of them, every one of the space agencies, I said, here's what you're going to have. And it's exactly what I said it was. And not only that, I didn't realize they would go deep enough in to grab heart muscle. They actually came back with the muscle. I'm going to show you right now. Watch this. This is freaking amazing. All right, here's what they did. Well, first of all, look at this. Those are heart. That's a heart, and this is the lung behind it. This is on Earth here, but this stuff is everywhere. All right, now let's go back to Bennu. All right, here's Bennu. Hold on. All right, you see that? That's Bennu. Now, they landed on here and bam, they pushed a whole bunch of this dusty stuff off and got right down to the guts and grabbed a piece and came back, and it is muscle. I'll show you in a second. Now, this circle right here is a heart valve. That circle right there is a heart valve. This big one right down here is a heart valve. All right, the plumbing on the top, all the tubes pops right off. This is well known, fully understood. It's because of iron banding. Now let's look at what else is out there that they have not been able to understand.
That's a huge heart.
That is nothing, brother. That is nothing. Now, that heart is less than a mile wide. That's tiny. Now listen to this. I showed you the heart before, and this one right here is Psyche, which is another heart. This is another heart in space. I know it sounds insane.
First thing I'm thinking is like a heart of a star or something.
They had battles in the heavens. This was actually witnessed by people here on Earth. If you read all of the Indian texts, and like we're talking about Quetzalcoatl and all those other just absolutely enormous, gigantic creatures, they had battles in the heavens, and these are the body parts that were left over. Now, these are the valves, same as a heart. This is a heart right here. And right at that line, if you can see that line that goes across, all that plumbing pops right off, and you end up with this where the valves are, right like this. And that's what we're looking down at, in all these holes on the top of these hearts. All this gooey stuff at the top with the tubes pops off. And that's what, now, this is, let me show you something, a closer look at that. Let's see.
So you think the meteorite they found at 10 miles apart?
It's going to be a body part. I don't know what it is. Comet 67P is a hip joint. I can prove it. There's no question whatsoever about that. And I reported that to the European Space Agency and to NASA in 2015. Now this right here is a heart. That's a heart. You see over here this thing? That's a tube. That's a tube coming out of there. The tubes don't come out, the craters go in. They say, oh, these are all craters. No, they're not. And you see these different colors down here? You got black, red, and yellow. Those are the colors of blood, the 3 different oxygenation states of blood. And this ridge right here is the tendon, and everything else is the heart valves and the body of the heart.
Now, is this a picture they got from the satellite?
Correct. This is they actually did a close flyby of this. This is not an artist rendition. This is the exact colors, and this is exactly what it is. It's Psyche. It's called Psyche. And guess how wide this thing is from this side to that side? Take a guess.
I'm not sure.
It's 177 miles wide.
Wow. Very funny.
177 miles wide.
Yeah, man. I'm into meteorites. I like a lot of different tektites. Why did you say tektites are
Tektite?
Yeah, like tektites.
Well, I don't know what you mean by tektite. What do you mean?
Meteorites.
Well,
you know about motivite?
What is it?
Motivite?
No, I don't go by names. I go by body parts. They throw names at everything. Plagioclase, all these kind of crazy names. I got a meteorite right here. You want to see something? Hold on. Hold on. This will take a second. I got to find it. It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. Here it is. All right, you get your mind ready to be blown. This right here is a meteorite. All right.
Is it iron?
No. Some of it, there's iron in there. You see the red here?
Mm-hmm.
See that, how red that is?
Yeah, I would love to know the name of that so I could study that. But it's really in the study. It's 1 in a million.
Now, this, let me see if I can show it to you. This, this, my friend, is a fingertip. Came through space. It's a meteorite, but it came through space. It is a fingertip. And I can prove that. Now watch down here at the bottom. This is hard to do from a distance here. Okay, here we go. You see that circle right there?
Mm-hmm.
You see there's another circle right there?
Yeah.
There was another one right here, and this thing came straight down just like this side. Well, this side didn't blow out because it's the vein side. Black blood would be in this side. Red blood stays wet, and that side exploded. That's why it's missing. It exploded. When it came through, it was all one piece, and those 3 spots at the bottom would have been complete. There would have been 3 perfectly round spots because that's where the tendons attach. Now, check this out. This came through space. That's why it's all blacked off like that. You see it? That's the only way you would ever see something blacked off. And all of the tissue and so forth is burnt off. Now, look at this. This one here is from Earth. It's identical to this one. You see the 2 of them?
Mm-hmm.
That hook and everything. It's identical. And this one...
I like how you were breaking down how Quetzalcoatl, the bones of Quetzalcoatl covered America.
Quetzalcoatl, that's a big boy. That thing goes all the way from the Gulf of whatever you want to call it now, all the way up to the Green Mountains, up in Vermont and Maine and up in that area. And he's not even the biggest. Scorpzilla is the big boy. You know where Scorpzilla is?
No.
Oh man, you got to get caught up on this. Scorpzilla.
No, I saw, man, I like the one you did about. Can you show us the one when you show how Quetzalcoatl is laid across? When they say this is the land of plumed serpent, why they call it the land of plumed serpent?
I could get it. Yeah, it would take me a minute to get it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, here, hold on. Let me come up with it. Let's see.
When you say Mudfossils, you're looking at all my old stones a little different now.
We live in a world that we never expected, my friend. Nobody has expected this. It just, and I got to tell you something. This was dropped on me, I think, by God. That's all I can tell you. Because I woke up one morning, probably about 2012, something like that. I told my wife, I said, something in the woods calling my name. I don't know, it's just, and I said that, it's exact words I said. I said, something in the woods calling my name. And I didn't know anything about giants or anything. I thought, I got to be honest with you, at this point, I thought God was a joke. Jesus Christ was, who could come up with that stuff? Show me the proof. I'm a material evidence scientist guy. I don't take just, oh, the guy could do this miracle, he could do this, he could do it. Come on. That's all nonsense. Those people were weak-minded fools, easily led. They needed something to grasp onto. They were just weak. And that's the mindset of an academic. And I was not a real true academic. I'm a technical guy. But, you know, you got to show me evidence. And an academic says, well, I was told this is true, and this is true, and this is true, and by all the biggest, smartest people in the world, and they all agree. Well, peer pressure means it's the same thing that's happening now with Trump. If you don't agree, you're out. So that's the problem with academia. They have you just worse. They have you in the worst position you could possibly be in, because you have to pay them for the piece of paper, and if you don't repeat exactly what they tell you to say, you're gone. And they'll keep your money, and they'll tell everybody you're an idiot because you couldn't learn. You could not learn to repeat. You could not learn to repeat. They have, and it's generational wealth that has built this empire of academic frauds. In my mind, they're academic frauds, and the worst ones are at Yale. This is in my opinion. I presented all this stuff to Yale and they just refused. And then they actually took credit for exceptional preserved soft creatures because of silicon and all the things I said. All exactly the same paper. Only they said it was sand and not mud. And never mentioned me at all. And they said they led this whole thing. And that was a year after I presented all my stuff to them. All right, let's see what I can show you now. Hold on. What was I going to do? All right, here we're going to go with Quetzalcoatl. You got your Quetzalcoatl coming up. All right. That is the feathered serpent. All right, now if you look it up and you look into this, he was a protector god, as far as I know. You have to look into this. Now he had a twin brother or something too, and this goes deep. I'm not going to go into the what was said about him. I'm just going to show you here he is, and then I'm going to show you where he is on Earth. Because he is on Earth. Now, get a good picture of him. You see his beards? Little white spots of beards? You see his tail flaring way up at the end here? You see his headdress with the feathers way up here?
Your screen's not sharing right now.
It's not?
No.
Hold on.
Yeah, I most definitely want to see this.
Hold on. Oh shit! I had to turn them off. I got to go back and get Quetzalcoatl. But let me show you where he is on the East Coast. All right, you're sharing now, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. Here's his head. Here's his whole body. Goes up the East Coast, all the way up here. And there's his headdress. Now let me go back and get the other picture that you didn't see yet. This is going to blow you out. Wait till you see this. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. Now, this is Quetzalcoatl. All right, you see him, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, look at what he's eating. That's not your average lunch. He's eating some gigantic, and when I say gigantic, wait till you see how big Quetzalcoatl is. Now, there's his beards. There's one here, he's got a little tiny one in the front. His headdress coming way up here at the top. He's just a snaky body, wraps around and it comes around all the way up, and there's his tail. Now, let's see Quetzalcoatl on the east coast of the United States. Let's see. All right. This is the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of the United States, whatever you want to call it. Here is Quetzalcoatl's head. Runs all the way up the East Coast. And here's his feathers on the top of his head. Here's his beards. You see the little beards coming out?
Mm-hmm.
He's got another little one up here. You can't see too good. Now, this is his throat. This is the Mississippi River. That was his throat. And it comes all the way down, wraps all the way up the East Coast. Now, here's the feathers. Now, if I could do the Google Earth, I think I can. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can do this. Now you can't see the Google Earth, can you?
No.
All right. Aha. Oh, we can do it. We can do it, my friend. You can see it, right?
Yes.
All right, check this out. This is Florida, and this is the whole East Coast. All the way up. This is the shoulder of his wing, or his shoulder or whatever up here. Now, there's his beards. You see the colors?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always was interested if there's any kind of issues with people living right in this area, because they have toxins in their beards. It would be interesting. And all farming and all that stuff is based on the type of body that they're growing it on. You see how his head is a different color than all around there?
And then where the feathers are, that's where you have all the tornadoes and stuff like that, huh?
Oh yeah, I got that. Yeah, it's over his head. And you know why? You see these here coming up out? Those are feathers. You see that?
Mm.
Those are feathers. Let it home in for a second. You see it?
Perfect.
Those are feathers, and that's why he's a plumed serpent, a feathered serpent. And now, that goes all the way up the East Coast. It wraps all the way around. His head is a different material than the feathers. But these are all feathers, all the way up to the Green Mountains. All the way up in here. You see the feathers? This was, they sell feather meal. They grind up feathers and they sell it for fertilizer to make things grow green. I'm not kidding you.
Nah, man, they're doing something in the schools now with peacock feathers, making lasers. They're doing all sorts of stuff, feathers now. So yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, everything is different than we were told. There's nothing that is correct. Scorpzilla's over here. He runs all the way up from here is his head. There's his shoulder. Runs all the way up, all the way out to here, and there's his scorpion pincher. 3,700 miles. And this is his scorpion injector. You see that injector pin?
Mm-hmm.
Every one of these spots here, every one of these little white spots is a volcano, because there's nothing but toxins in here. And this, you see this little wrinkly area here?
Yeah.
There's a pin right here. this would rock back into that wrinkled area and would just more or less lay right in here. And whenever they got something they want to jab, zip, and that pin would jab them. Scorpzilla, I call it. And it's a gigantic creature. There was Scorpius was a creature, you know. But anyway, right up in here now, they're having some terrible, terrible earthquakes. Really bad, right off the coast. And this is all earthquake territory. All earthquakes and volcanoes. Every one of these is a volcano. Every single one. You see it?
Wow. Yeah.
Every single one. And Mount Spur, which is my name, is the worst. They're worrying about it going off. And these are all what they call stratovolcanoes. They're popping straight up. And that's because this is just filled with nothing but venom. That whole thing, you see this? That whole thing is nothing but a tube of venom. And from here, right from here is about 250 meters down. Over here is 6,200 meters down. This is huge. This creature is absolutely enormous. Now, right here is Mount Spur, and this is anus. I am a rectum. They always used to call me that, only they didn't use that exact name. Now, this right here is Mount Spur. If you follow this up, right in this area is Mount Spur comes up and it blows out through down here, and all of this stuff flows down. And at the end, you see how green it is down here? That's fertilizer, because this is all poop and urine. It is. This is a cloaca. A cloaca means in avians and reptiles, birds, the feces, which is this side right here, this is poop. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Every time it poops, more poop, poop, poop. That's running out from Mount Spur. If you follow it back up right into here, that's where Mount Spur is. It's hard to get a fix on it, but all of that stuff runs right down into here.
Gotcha.
Now, they're worried about this thing going off, and it might. Now, you see all these different colors? The blue and the yellow and the greens and different colors. This is where it's making all that toxin. You see this? This is a witch's brew of toxin here. This is where it's making. This is right. This is in the Aleutian Islands, just before you head off into the Aleutian Islands. Down in here, this is cooking up venom. You follow me? You see these colors?
Mm-hmm.
Those are different transition metals and different noxious, nasty enzymes, and this is where it's making its toxin to send out here through Scorpzilla's tail to his injector.
So this Google map you're on right now?
Yes.
Man, take us to Antarctica.
Antarctica has the giant snake. You ever see that one?
No, man, show me. They say it's a great ice wall down here. I'm trying to see the ice wall, see all the different things in Antarctica. Oh, wow.
This
immediately.
There's his teeth or whatever where it's smashed. I think this thing got smashed. This should be more forward right about here. But you can see it was here at one time. It got pushed back. This whole thing, the guts of this snake are right up in here. These are where the guts are. You see this? That's part of his body. You see that? That's people have to start looking at things better. This didn't just happen by accident. That's body tissue and flesh. You see that?
Mm-hmm. The story of Team out hitting them a little different now.
They got to start paying attention to what's in front of their faces. Oh, it just looks like that. No, it doesn't just look like it is. It looks like it because it is that. And the same thing with Scorpzilla. They just can't handle the truth. Jesus Christ said the earth is a corpse. He's right. And everything in space is too. Bennu, Psyche. I have every meteorite I've seen is from a body part. Every single one. This is Scorpzilla's head. Here's his eyeball. And up here is his eyebrows. His head is almost all of California. And you know, obviously, about Typhon and the fish. There's the fish. And he's swimming this way, trying to get away from Typhon, the dragon, who is spitting venom on him. And in the ancient text, it said Typhon, and that's his name, Typhon, was spitting a great jet of fire on the gods to try to kill the gods. And the gods changed themselves into animals to try to get away. And Ares, the god of war, who is this one right here, changed into a fish. And Typhon, who is the dragon right here. There's his red flared eye. He's spitting all this stuff out of his beards. They all have beards. You see the two beards?
Mm.
You see them? And the stuff comes out of the beards. The toxin comes out of the beards. That's why I said Quetzalcoatl. You can see the colors coming out of his beards. And this is nasty stuff. You see it coming down here? You see it?
Mm-hmm.
That is nasty as nasty gets. And when it hit the fish on its back, it ate right through his back. So here he is spitting at the fish. All that stuff came down and hit the fish. His vital flesh is right here. All right, up here, that's just a fin. I don't think it's not like flesh. Now down here, it ate right through the scales. And you can see his blood vessels, veins, arteries, capillaries. I can see more in this picture than any doctor has ever seen. This is artery. All these little things inside the arteries are edible. That's where the stuff that comes down. There's actually things growing here because this is the red vital blood. In the black areas, you don't see anything growing. See, nothing. Now, as this blood works its way through the tissues, it ends up getting right down to the veins. These are the veins, the black ones. And just as it hits the veins, you have the capillaries. Watch right here. You see this down here? This is the big artery. And it feeds off into the blood vessels. And the blood vessels feed off into smaller ones. And every single cell that's in the body has to be addressed regularly with more oxygen. And it comes down and it passes by all the tissue in the body, which everything here is tissue. And when it gets right down to the vein, which is here, you're into the capillaries. All right, these are capillaries, these little bitty ones. They pinch off and only let the stuff out that they want to let out. Mm-hmm. These right here, nobody's ever seen this before. These are lymph ducts. These little ones, those aren't tire tracks. Those are what carries the lymph, which is the stuff that I discovered, the fluid-filled highway, back in 2015. That's where it carries it. And where does it carry it? It carries it to try to attack wounds and injuries. Well, we can see that actually happening. Over here, it's broken through. You see it's coming down. Here it's just eating through the flesh. Over here, we got the real noxious stuff is attacking the fish. And you see this colored stuff here? That's lymph fluids. All right? That stuff is meant to try to help you kill off and remove things that are invading you. The green is invading. This stuff, somehow, it knows enough to get together to go and attack this. This didn't happen by accident. All of that stuff got together and said, hey, we got a problem over here. Get over here and attack that stuff. And it did. But it's too much. It carried it down. This is all the noxious stuff. You see it? All this green, noxious, nasty stuff. It's carrying all that stuff down to the lymph nodes, which are right here. That's a lymph node. And all that nasty stuff is coming in, and it enters into the lymph node here where it's supposed to be cleared and cleaned. Too much. Kills the lymph node. The lymph node's dead. Coming out of here, there's no more pink stuff. Coming in is where the pink is, but it carries all that trash with it, and it killed the lymph node, so the lymph node cannot secrete. And these are the actual, you see these layers here? Those are the filters. Those are filters. And they filter out, in the body. I have all this stuff in my anatomical books. I know this stuff intimately. And it's exactly identical to what you see in the human body. And there's another lymph node that has been killed. This is the same thing, same another one, another one, another one, another one. All of them dead. All of them dead. And the reason they're dead is because they're trying to absorb this noxious venom, and they can't do it.
Wow.
Now Typhon runs, his neck is here. All right, it's called the Dragon River, the Drach River. It runs all the way down. These are dragon scales.
Now where is this exactly? Back by Libya or something?
This here is, I believe it's like Morocco.
Wow. It's funny, man. You just said how all meteorites have a kind of, they might be whatever, right? Area.
I told you before that I had this message that said, go look in the woods. Well,
yeah.
When I went to look in the woods, eventually I did find the giants. And when I started searching on the giants, a message came up. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why. And it just came up and it said, these things are for you to see and for others as a test. And I said, whoa. And I said, wow, that's crazy. And I had the evidence in my hand that I could present as a test, and nobody passed. Nobody. My family, they thought I was crazy. They wanted me to go get some medical help, I'm serious. And I have a lot of people. They actually I thought I was going to lose my wife for sure. And I'm still not invited to any family things anymore. I'm a total outcast. And that it's what happens. And it's happened to virtually, a lot of people that I know. And they've actually had breakups of their marriages and everything over this kind of stuff. That people can't. And my wife still, it's been 15 years. She refuses to watch any of my videos. And nobody in my family will either. So I sort of just do this. But my point is, I woke up saying I got to go look in the woods because I just had that feeling like nobody said anything to me. But when I got that message, it was in text right across the screen. It said, these things are for you to see and for others as a test. And I took that to heart. So let's say it was 2012. By 2015, I had nobody that would talk to me. Literally nobody. I was disgraced by everybody, and I'm sitting here, sitting right here now, looking at exactly what we're looking at here. But what I was looking at was this, the Eye of the Sahara, which is Atlantis. And I actually wrote a paper on it. As a matter of fact, my friend Paul wrote a book about it. I'm holding this up here. From 11 of 2015, I wrote Atlantis and the Draining of the Sahara, which it did. It drained right across the Eye of the Sahara, which is an eyeball. That's a literal eyeball. Mm-hmm. And if you follow the optic nerves around, they go out here. You see them all coming all out here? These are optic nerves. Where do you see this? They come into a grid work of like pixelation. You see that? Mm-hmm. This is the optic nerve. The whole thing is covered with little squares. It takes a while to settle in. But as all of these come up to the nerves, so my point is, I have been looking at this for years, and I could see all of the things that pointed to that this was an eyeball, first of all. And secondly, here, see this here? Let that settle in for a second. All of that is webbing in the eyeball. You see it?
Yeah.
And the whole thing is the optic nerve. All the way around here. So I had been looking at this for probably 2 years, focusing in on, first of all, that it was an eyeball. Secondly, that it was Atlantis, and I could actually see, I think, some of the boat docks.
That's amazing.
Every one of those rings, if you look real close, you can see where there might be some actual boat docks. You see how the little channels come in? It's an eyeball, so it has this type of characteristic. But I think they also used it like here, like these dots might have been buildings or whatever not. I don't know. And these look like these are channels coming in, and they would have parked the boats here. And this is a little bit higher elevation than over here. So anyway, I'm looking at this now. This is 2015, and I'm staring. I think I was looking at this, and I'm saying to God, I said, God, I can't get. Nobody will take this test. I'm out in the Never Land. You got the wrong guy. And I heard. I swear this is the truth. I heard from behind me, look in Morocco. And I thought, well, where'd that come from? And so I said, well, look in Morocco. Within 15 seconds of moving from looking here, I look up here, I can see the fish and the dragon. Now, I had been looking at this for years. I never saw him until I heard look in Morocco, and I just looked up and there it was. And this right here, you see it? That's the straits that ran into the Sahara Ocean. All right, they had a garrison over here to protect this straits. And this is a very narrow straits. And that was the entrance into the Sahara Ocean. And this is where the Sahara Ocean drained out, you see it? That was what my book was about, the draining of the Sahara. It drained out and created the Cape Verde Islands. You see them?
Wow.
It hit here and piled up so much they skirted around the edges. And that's an alluvial plain, means it's just a flat spot out there from, and Plato said when it let go and it drained over the top of Atlantis, Atlantis sunk. They will never speak of mud again. So much mud ran. And that's the draining of the Sahara Ocean. This was all ocean.
Mm.
And what happened with these two guys fighting, I don't know. Because the Typhon goes all the way from here to back here. This is his tail. Here's his tail. Now he got cut right here. Typhon was attacked by Zeus. This was all written about in the ancient texts. This exact event was written about. And he is the guy that they were writing about. Here's his legs were just like the thighs of a human, and everything else was dragon. Down here is his skin of his coils. That is leather. That's the same stuff as in an ostrich hide, only this is the leather on his viper coils. That's not sand dunes. You go to anybody that knows about leather, they know exactly what that is. I have in my microscope, I've looked at all kinds of different leather, and this is like from an ostrich type leather. And he is some form of an avian creature because he's got a cloaca too. And he's got poop coming out of him too, right here. See it?
I agree.
Piles of poop. Right out from his butt. And all of this is his throat coming all the way down. And right there is where Typhon cut his throat with his great and mighty sword. That's what it was written. And that's where the black and the red is, the blood. You see out here? Blood makes things grow green. Even right here, it's still growing green in the desert. So anyway, does that make any sense to you?
Man, yeah, it's amazing. Like I said, you gave me a lot of information I can go back and study, and have a new appreciation for some of these petrified woods. I look at those and a whole lot different. So.
Oh wait, I got to show you that heart. Hold on a second. Stay with me.
No problem.
The quartz heart. Hold on. Okay, It's going to take a minute. Hold on, brother.
Okay.
Here we go. Opal. Also. All right, here we go. We're talking about opals. All right, that's an opal heart. Isn't that something? Now, this is from a place in Australia called the Yoa region. And they call that a Yoa nut. All of these organs are the same, and they all have, they're spectacular colors. Now, you see this greenish looking stuff, or yellow, or not yellow, or blue, green around here? This is cut in half and just laid side by side. That is the ventricle walls. Those little strings coming down are actually the heart strings. These circles up here are the heart valves. Remember I showed you the heart valves in the other heart? The reason these colors are where they are is because of nucleophilic invasion and substitution, which means whatever was here in this ventricle wall had a certain chemistry to it that became stabilized with one of the transition metals that was like vanadium or whatever. And it could be 2 or 3 or 4 different transition metals, and they gang up together to make stability. But this is what happens. This is called stability. There was nothing it could do. It was stuck there in the mud with all its blood, and everybody had to figure out a way to get stable, and they did. They partnered up with a certain type of molecule or transition metal, and in this case of opals, it's transition metals. All right, so that is...
And you said that was an opal?
Yeah, it's opal, yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful, man.
Yeah, well, that's a heart. Now, here's what a regular heart looks like. All right, as I showed you that other heart, it was broken off up in this area here, and you could see some of the, like, it was broken off right about here. And they break off, the plumbing goes away. And you could see the heart valves, and you could see a bunch of blood in there, the red blood, and then the heart strings. Now I go back to it. Now, don't forget what you're seeing here. Right up in this area, we could see a couple of holes. Well, let's go back and look at it. All right, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
These are the valves, the heart valves. These are the ventricle walls, heart strings, and the things get invaded. Now you see over here, there's more green and blue than there is up here. That indicates to me that the thing was rocked to the side, and heavier transition metals, or it might have been closer right here to the lung, let's say. and the lung has some other form of blood or tissue in it that would invade with more green, with more blue or green. But it's the same tissue as is over here, the same ventricle wall. You follow what I'm getting at?
Yeah, yeah.
So my point is, even in the same specimen, the same tissue type can be a different color. This one's a light color blue, this one's a dark color blue and green, but it is the same tissue. That's why when I find like, hold on a second, let me show you something. Like I got a giant hair follicle here. Oh, here it is right here. All right. This is a hair follicle. And I got it in my hand, I'm holding it from a giant, some kind of giant creature. I don't know if it's human or not because I never had it tested, but the muscle comes down right here, and that's where the muscle attaches. The sebaceous gland, this globby looking stuff, is right over here. All right, I'm holding two different, took a picture of it and then I held this up against the picture so you could see everything at once.
Gotcha.
This is the hair root coming down to the bottom. This is where the hair shaft comes up the top. Now, all of that stuff has been completely nucleophilically substituted and invaded. So, the condition of this, in my estimation, was it was in extremely hot, boiling, maybe salty waters, whatever. It took all of the chemistry out and left the fabric, basically, think of it that way, of that structure. And then when it stabilized, whatever was in the waters that it stabilized in invaded and took over. So everything turned to that same thing, except the things that you can see are membranes, which right here where that muscle attached is a membrane. And that you can see those very clearly, even though everything else has transitioned. So that's a 2-inch wide hair follicle. That guy would be pretty big, tall. You know, my fingertip, the one, the 3 foot long fingertip, he'd be close to 200 feet tall. And I have other body parts from him out there laying stripped too. And the same thing with the hand. I have all kinds of stuff from that. So, and it's been DNA tested and CAT scanned some of the one from the hand. I had CAT scans. I didn't show you those, did I? Let me just show you that and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's a lot to look into and research.
Oh, wait a minute. You know, I didn't show you the Bennu samples. Let me show you something. I told you about sarcomeres. These are heart sarcomeres. There's a layer of phosphates in between. The phospholipid membranes are these layers, and then you got these chunky blocks, which are the sarcomeres. Now, they landed on Bennu and went down and grabbed a chunk of Bennu, which I showed you as a heart. And when they came back with it, this is what they had. There it is right there. Those blocks are the heart sarcomeres. These white layers are the membranes that cap over the top and the bottom of the sarcomeres. Now we're looking straight down at the sarcomeres, but if you looked at it coming into the sarcomeres this way, they form ropes, and the ropes are what go around your heart. We're looking down at a cross section of it, so we see the actual sarcomeres. There's DNA in here, there's uracil, there's RNA, there's 16,000 organic chemicals, there's the structure of a heart, there's 16 of the 20 amino acids that they could find, and they can't deal with the fact that it's a heart. They refuse to engage. And I've sent to everything. I sent to NASA, to Bill Nelson, the leader of NASA. Nobody seems to be able to do anything. Those people are in so much control of the falsehoods. This is my estimation. It's only there to extract money. It's there to get money for funding. It's not there to do the research. They'd be looking into this. They would be looking into this. In my opinion, it's fraud. And we're being defrauded as the population. And the people are defrauding us are the ones that we trusted. But that's my opinion. Somebody prove me wrong. I can't. Nobody can prove me wrong, because they won't look at any of this stuff, and they won't look at any of this stuff in the physics either, because that is just another one of those things. It's just they're going to lose their. They think they're going to lose their funding. They're certainly going to look like idiots, because I've been pressing that for 10 years over that to Fermilab, and in my opinion, they refuse. We could have had free energy 10 years ago. Yeah, I'm serious.
Now we're talking.
I'm serious. I've just been putting it out day after day about the neutrinos, and they want to make a neutrino laser. We did that 10 years ago. We used light. We used lasers, and we put it through a Venturi, which crushed the light, and it came out thousands of times more energetic than it went in. Thousands of times. I have all.
Are you familiar with shungite?
What's that? A shungite?
Are you familiar? Shungite.
I've heard the name, but that's just I think that's blood. You're talking about shungite. It's a little fluid. It's a little soft.
No, it's a black stone found in like the Russia-Ukraine area.
Yeah, it's blood. It's blood. It's blood. It's blood that's been congealed, really heavily congealed. And they eat it. They eat that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they eat that stuff for energy. And there'll be a lot of energy in there. Seriously, I'm serious. They're right. There's a lot of energy in there. Let me just show you something if I got... You got time for this or no?
I'm about to head out in a little bit, but man, I got a little minute for you.
Well, no, let's do this another time if you want. I can show you...
It's an honor. It's so many things we can keep going and talking about.
There's nothing that's right. There is nothing that is right now. There is not a single thing that we've been told is correct. Physics is wrong. History is wrong. Chemistry is wrong. You know, the giants... all about religion is totally nonsense. Even the Bible has a lot of good stuff, but it's got a lot of stuff that's not right either. And I go back to Apollodorus and Hesiod, Ovid, Plato, Plutarch, all of those, Herodotus. They were the ones that were closest to the source, and they wrote the truth. They wrote what was being told. And now the evidence is quite obvious. Typhon was all told about exactly in the words. Well, here it is right here. Let me give you, like you say, you got one more minute. Hold on. Here's Apollodorus. This was from early in history. Book 1, the giants, and Apollo. Hold on. I got to go 163. All right, I'm just going to tell you about the battle. This was when Hercules and all of them, Hercules was shooting everybody dead with an arrow. He had to help Zeus kill him because the gods needed a human to help, and Hercules was half human. So he was killing. So the other giants, Zeus smote and destroyed with thunderbolts, which was Typhon and the rest of them. All of them Hercules shot with arrows as they were dying. Now, listen to this. Gaia, who was Earth, she gave birth to all these giants, and they were her children. She was pissed. Earth was enraged and had intercourse with Tartarus and brought forth Typhon. He's the dragon. He was between man and beast, size, strength, surpassed all the offspring of earth. His thighs were of human shape, and he was so outrageously tall, he outtopped all the mountains. His head brushed the stars. From the thighs down, he had huge coils of vipers, which was that leather that I showed you. From his head, he mounted a giant hissing stream on his heads and cheeks. Fire flashed from his eyes, which I showed you. He hurled kindled rocks made for the very heavens, hissing, spouting great jets of fire. Now listen, the gods saw him rushing at heaven. They made for Egypt in flight. Being pursued, they changed their forms into animals. This is exactly what we saw. And however, Zeus pelted Typhon at a distance, and at close quarters struck him down with an adamantine sickle. He cut his throat. This was all written about. This is not something that I'm talking about.
You're finding the masses laid out for him on the map.
He's on maps too. Yeah, he's on maps, and we became enlightened when they turned the lights off. So anyway, listen, go do what you got to do, my friend.
Man, I appreciate it. It's really been an honor, man. I really appreciate your information and knowledge on the subject.
Well, I'm glad to do this because I woke up this morning thinking I got to do. All of the people, new people, they don't have any idea how I started. Because you got to start somewhere, and so I figured I'd show them how things. That paper that I originally showed, fascia-facilitated. You know the one. So anyway, go do what you got to do. I'm going to shut this thing down.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nabi. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Peace.
You too.